My name is JD Epper. I'm our regional production manager with Bartlett Roofing. I'm here with Weston, another guy part of our production team, and we are just going to be doing our training process on final inspections today. You'll pull the job up in RoofLink, go ahead and find that final inspection task, click complete, and it will start a new final inspection for you. In that final inspection, you will see a bunch of line items that you're going to want to go over with your own eyes and do your inspection while documenting and uploading those photos to the final inspection. First thing I like to do as a quality control rep, go ahead and knock on the door of the house, let the homeowner know who you are, what you're doing there, and just kind of ask if they're satisfied, if they have any questions or concerns regarding the install, just so we can address those issues and get to the bottom of it, just so we can make sure they're satisfied when we're done. First thing you want to do is go ahead and look at the property. Obviously, if the homeowner was home, go ahead and let them know you're going to need access to their backyard. If they're not home, I would suggest not going in the backyard. Pro tip. Sometimes there are big dogs I've ran into, so.
Big dogs are scary.
They came bounding over.
But if they are home, it makes it a lot easier just so you can get in the backyard. A super important thing, obviously, we did our midpoint inspection. You saw how a tear off can be pretty messy regardless of how many tarps we lay out. So you just are gonna wanna glance in the yard, the landscaping, see if there's any nails, shingles, old underlayment, and anything that was damaged. You know, we're checking the gutters for dents and scratches. We're checking the fences for any scratches, damaged plants, screens. We just want to get our eyes on everything on the property, not just the roof.
So we're kind of taking what we did at the midpoint inspection and doing that whole ground walk around the property again, but just as a final, making sure that things are left better than what we found them when we started.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So and a lot of QC reps get it confused. You know, we are a roofing company, so they tend just to focus directly on the roof itself, which is a very important thing, but just as important to the Bartlett standard is how well the property was kept. And like you said, leaving the property the same as it was or even better than it was before.
Sounds good.
Okay. First thing I like to do as quality control is kind of just get my eyes on the drip edge. We've talked about how we like our corners cut. From the ground, it's very easy to see the corners of the drip edge just to make sure they were cut and installed properly. You get your own eyes on it, get photos of those, and then upload those to the appropriate line item in that final inspection. After you check out the drip edge and the landscaping, get your eyes on the ground, you can go ahead and set up your ladder and then climb on the roof and start going through the line items on that final inspection.
If we show up to the job to do our final inspection and there's extra materials in the driveway or in the side yard, what should we do with those? Good
question, good question. So a lot of times we do order extra just to minimize material runs to make everybody's job a little bit easier. We do ask our crews to leave it in the front yard, usually not in the grass or on the driveway, off to the side. If you see that, we want a picture of that stuff. And then you'll have to count the number of bundles, accessories, and create a material return form.
Okay.
By doing that, you go ahead and go to that overview page on the job, click on the inspections tab. There will be a task for you to do, or a button that says create inspections, very similar to the supplement inspection form. You'll go ahead and click create inspection, type in material return, choose that, hit submit, and it will pull up your material return form. And in that form, there's different line items, so you can input the appropriate number of bundles or drip edge. And then there will be a line item for the credit receipt, and that is the second part of it. When you return it to the supplier, they will give you a credit receipt. So that receipt is super important. That's one of the big photos we want to input in that form.
Okay.
And that's just to verify the correct amount or get an input back into our system and credited to the right job.
Right, because that goes back into the sales rep's back pocket essentially, right?
Both,
on the back end.
Both. The companies overhead and profit and the sales rep's commission.
Okay. And if you want to know, if you're not familiar with the supplier that you're supposed to return it to, on that material order that you originally worked off of for the job, or if this is a different QC rep's job, go to that original material order and the supplier's listed right there. So that's all on RoofLink, right in one spot for you to find the appropriate place to return those materials.
Good. So after you've already checked out the yard, the landscaping, everything you can from the ground, you'll go ahead and set up your ladder. You'll go ahead and climb on that roof, and all the line items in your final inspections will help you go step by step on what to look for. Part of it is the gutters cleaned. A lot of granules come off the roof when we're tearing off, and we require our subs to clean our gutters better than they were before. That's the first thing I would suggest doing right when you get up. Walk around, check all the gutters, make sure there's no nail debris left over in those. If there is debris, it's a big problem once it rains. Goes through those downspouts, clogs them up. After that, you can just get your overview of the slopes, get your eyes on it, make sure all the shingles are straight. You'll know that. That's part of the reason why we require those chalk lines on that midpoint. Then you can make your way to checking all the pipes. You can pull up the shingles slightly if they haven't sealed yet around, just to make sure they're all properly secured around the pipe jacks, box vents. You will make your way along if there's skylights or chimneys, just to make sure everything looks up to code. Proper flashing has been installed around those skylights or chimneys. Another common thing we want to check out is the valleys. Make sure our crew's installed our shingles through the valley the way we require it, which is the California style.
Sounds good.
Another common thing you will see, you'll want to check is all the exposed nail heads are covered, whether that's at the bottom of the pipe jacks or box vents, the last piece of ridge cap that was installed on the roof. Anywhere where there will be an exposed nail head, it needs to have caulking over it. And that's just to seal up the roof, so when it does rain, water will find its way through any little crack. I know you will also want to check your accessories. Make sure all your accessories are painted. If they haven't been painted, I would go ahead, and you as the QC rep, go ahead and grab some step flashing, or if you have some loose shingles in your truck, and go ahead and place those around the box vents or the pipe jacks, and go ahead and spray those pipes and that pipe jack. The reason you want to bring like step flashing or something with you is just to minimize any paint that may get on the shingles.
Okay.
I would say if you see it once or twice from our crews, because with the volume we do, some crews will miss it. But if you notice it's the same crew constantly not doing that, then instead of you doing it yourself, you can go ahead and reach back out to that crew and tell them, hey, you guys need to come back and correct this issue.
Okay. So if we arrive for a final inspection and we find damage or excessive trash in the gutters or trash around the house, anything that's going to require some additional work, what should we do in that situation?
I like to have the QC rep just to be proactive about solving that situation. Since we're already there, go ahead and be hands-on and clean that up, but also let that crew know so we can hold them accountable and notice, or let them know we're aware of this and this isn't up to our Bartlett standard. And because if we're constantly correcting the mistakes that our crews have made without letting them know, there's no way for them to be able to change it or fix the problem.
Yeah, especially if you've got a homeowner that points out an issue to you when you arrive for your final inspection, you wouldn't want to tell the homeowner, well, I'm going to let my crew come back out. I'm not going to fix your problem right now. Like, it's better to be proactive, especially if you have the capability to fix the problem right then and there. Just go ahead and get it done.
Do it! Just do it! Just do it! Do it! No, what are you waiting for? Do it!
If it's going to require more than, I don't know, about an hour of your time and some additional material, yeah, go ahead and get with your scheduler or get with the crew directly and have them come back out for a callback and fix whatever problems are still existing on that job.
Yeah,
So.
And depending on how close you are with the crew, whether you're contacting the crew directly yourself, or contacting the scheduler or the production manager. It's always good just to find out that time frame or that date they will be back and meeting them there, just so, not that we don't trust our crews, but it's good to have our own eyes on it just so we can walk them through the problems we see and make sure they are fixing the problems up to what we require.
Yeah, exactly.
So the magic has happened. Obviously, the roof is done, the crew is gone, everything's finished. You should be back at the end of the day when the job gets finished, whether that's the same day as the start or if it's the next day. And it depends on your market, it depends on the roof, it depends on a number of factors whether or not it's going to get finished the same day it was begun. At the end of it, it doesn't matter. You should be there when the job is complete. You need to go with the customer and walk the property. You need to walk around and make sure that the customer is satisfied. If you're walking with your customer and you're picking up bits and pieces, they're going to be picking up bits and pieces. And if you have more than a handful, well, maybe that's something you need to talk to the QC people about. What do you think, JD?
I love that idea. When it's very minimal stuff, like we said with the quality control reps, just be proactive and pick those up. But if it's an excessive amount, definitely reach out to the quality control rep just so we can be informed, and then we can tackle that issue with the subcontractor.
And I agree with that notion that you guys can then fix the problem on your side because you know about it. And that's one of the things that goes back to the whole communication that we've been talking about throughout this entire training. The two sides of this organization working together. I've said it for a long time. The project managers essentially are the eyes of the Bartlett organism. You guys are the hands. And the hands got to know what the eyes see. So when we see something as project managers, we need to let them know if it's problematic. Be proactive, pick up. If it's 3 or 4 nails, if it's a couple of bits of underlayment that got lost, fine. But if you walk the property with the homeowner, they know the nooks and crannies to check. They'll see the places. And if you're seeing their hands full too, well, that's a training issue that QC wants to tackle. If it's 1s or 2s, the homeowner's happy, you tell the homeowner, or you ask the homeowner rather, hey, what do you think? Isn't this awesome? Doesn't that look great? And the homeowner's gonna be like, wow, I got a brand new roof. Wow, they did it in just X amount of days. Wow, it only cost me my deductible. They're thrilled. So use that thrilled excitement they have, but get out there and get them to accept the property, to accept our job as complete. And ask first, at the last thing you do, okay, is there any concerns? Are there any questions? Would you say you're satisfied with this process? And when they say, yeah, I'm satisfied with this process, then you front load them for the next part of the process. You say, cool, we're gonna send off the final invoice. I'll let you know when the check's on the way. Would you be comfortable giving us a 5-star review when the check gets here? And now when it comes time to collect the check, you can ask for it because they already said they give it to you. This is how you plan and position.
Yeah, and I like that because we focus so much just on the roof itself, but working with Bartlett and part of our whole product package is how we take care of the customer's property, how we take care of their personal items, making sure we clean up just as good as it was the day we started.
Right, and you promised the customer when you sat with them during the pre-production meetings and you went through all this, you promised that the cleanup would be to their satisfaction. So you better make sure it's to their satisfaction. And the easiest way to do it is to ask, is this to your satisfaction? They'll tell you. If they don't like the way something was done, you're gonna hear about it. And then you're gonna have to take action to fix it.
Okay? You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
So now that we're up here on the roof, I've kind of explained to you the things to look after, just to get more hands-on on your eyes now that we're up on the roof. Things that I'm also checking is not just the shingles, the valleys, but like these exhaust stacks. So we don't ever replace these unless absolutely necessary, but I'm always checking these storm collar seals just because they're so old. We like our crews to reseal them with caulking just to make sure when it does get that rain, no water's getting in there. As you can see, the nail heads that were at the bottom of the flashing are caulked, which is great. I'm gonna be just double checking all my J vents, pipes, flashings, make sure they're painted to match the box vents. Then get my eyes on this ridge cap. It's super easy to tell if the crew chalked their lines when doing the ridge cap. And you can just stand right over it and look down it and see it. If you do see that it's really bad and wavy, that's something we'll need to contact the crew about, have them come back out and redo that ridge cap. Overall, I think we touched base on it. Like we said, we want to check those gutters, our valleys, and not just do a quick overview. I mean, you don't have to inspect every shingle, but getting your eyes on every slope to look for those shiners, which would be a nail shot below that nail line, just so we can get all those corrections made.
Now the crew, I noticed on the last job we were on, the crew starts on one side of the slope and they work their way all the way across. So on this other side, obviously they're not gonna fit a whole shingle to match right on the edge of that roof. So are they cutting after they put the shingle on? Are we making sure that those edges are nice and flat on their finish end?
Good question. You do want to get your eyes on all of these rake edges at each slope, just to make sure the crew is cutting them flush with that drip edge metal. One of the first thing a homeowner will see from the ground when they're looking up is if a shingle is overhung or cut like a third grader would do, in layman's terms, like you put it. But yeah, I mean, like we said, it's more than just the roof. It's those fine details that Bartlett wants to provide our customers. So as that quality control rep doing your final inspections, we want you to have high standards. Same with the midpoint, you know, really just be proud of what you're doing. Take pride in what you're doing. I mean, it's really gratifying at the end of the day, especially when the homeowners are home and you get to talk to them and they're just so happy about the way we took care of their property. And even when we find the problems, just letting them know, like, hey, we realize we made a mistake, but we're gonna get this fixed and make sure everything's corrected at the end of the day. All right, so now that you've got on the roof, did your roof inspection, and documented any leftover that material that was left over, created that material return form. After your final is complete and you've done all that, you'll want to go back to the overview page on RoofLink. Go ahead and scroll down and there'll be a second final inspection complete task. You'll have to click that and that will trigger that job to go to the next widget for the next appropriate person in Bartlett to take care of it.
Okay, and at that point, the handoff from QC is done.
The QC work should be done unless there is issues that you found. You'll want to go ahead and document those in RoofLink, tag the appropriate people. Usually it'll be your scheduler. It's always good to notify the rep and let them know the problems we found and the process or what we're going to do next to get these problems fixed.
Sounds good.
I'd say the most important thing during all this, the midpoint and the finals, is documenting with your photos and leaving notes and tagging the appropriate people in RoofLink. It's always good, you know, to call the sales rep or your scheduler to inform them, but we also want to document those notes in RoofLink just so we have a track record, and if any other department goes into that job, they can see the full scope of what's been going on and how we handled the situation to get it all resolved.
Yeah, leaving a paper trail and having good and open communication between all departments. That way these processes can get done in a timely manner, and that way the customer is helped quickly and efficiently, and you know, we're getting these sales reps paid on the back end, and we're getting our jobs done well as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well as well.
Well as well. Well as well.
Well as well.
As well as
is
well.
always well.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Just a little final recap. Bartlett Homes and Roofing, we've been doing this a long time. So our CRM, our whole process is designed just to make your job as easy as possible with being able to document all the appropriate things, not just for our company, so the sales rep and we have photos of it, but also to get those photos to the carrier, just to streamline the process to make it as easy as possible for all parties included in this process. And I would say, like, if you're ever struggling or confused about anything, we have such a vast network of employees and leadership, and we want to be able to help you. So pick up the phone and call your leaders, call your scheduler, your production manager, or even other quality control reps that have maybe have a little bit more tenure with the company. Just reach out to your fellow employees and you know, ask them questions, because if you don't ask the questions and you're just struggling, you're only going to hurt yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and like JD said, these processes have been put in place to streamline everything, to make things easier. They're designed that anybody should be able to pick this document up and fill out a form, no matter what your experience level is on a roof. If you find anything that needs to be changed on these, or anything that you'd like added or removed, you know, let somebody know, and we'll run it up the chain of command, and we'll make sure that we're making this process as easy as possible for everybody.
Bartlett Roofing.
What's up, y'all? This is a crime scene.
So this is what?